When your power goes out, remember just how inconvenient your life can be. No lights, no refrigeration, no heating or cooling, no electronics. But with a Generac home standby generator, you'll have power when you need it. Our Generac generators automatically provide backup power after sensing a power outage, so your life goes on uninterrupted. Get a free 10-year warranty with the purchase of any air-cooled generator. Call Generac Generators today. Generac Generators. Life is primitive without power.
Streaming from the Tampa Bay 28 Weather Center in Studio A, this is Dennis Phillips Live. Brought to you by Generac Generators. Life is primitive without power.
How you doing, everybody? It is a Monday night edition of Dennis Phillips Live. We are live on the spot. We're live streaming. We're live everywhere. And fortunately, as opposed to Friday when I was live at the Sugar Sand Festival, my mic's working. So that's a plus because, y'all know we were doing our best to try some new stuff. And when we've been going out in the field and going around and about, kind of preparing ourselves for the summer season, which we know is going to be very active as always. And, my hope is we're out seeing y'all and going to different events and going live from different events. Matter of fact, this coming Wednesday, we will be live at Feeding Tampa Bay. Big event going on there. Next Tuesday, I'm going to be live. DPO will be live as well over at the Threshers home opener. So we got a lot of stuff going on. But before we do it, if you're watching on the spot, yep, I'm looking over. You are live there. So how you doing? And if you're watching on streaming or socials, as always, hope you had a great weekend. We're going to talk a little bit about the fires that were burning in Hernando Beach yesterday. Before we get that, Alicia, you got some rain. Nice. Erica, good to see you. Anna Maria, as always. Hello to Carol. How are you? Lake Placid's in the house with Bonnie. Lealman's in the house with Mary. Newport Richie, Dominique, Kim. Lake Placid getting some rain today. How about it? So the airport picked up 3/4 of an inch of rain in about an hour. So for Florida, that's not an unusual thing. But for Florida in the month of March, kind of is. We went from a 1/2 inch below average rainfall-wise to 1/3 of an inch above. And in 1 hour. So look, we got some rain. We're going to talk about that. It's a holiday week, spring break for Pasco County, Easter weekend, a lot going on. And coming up in a couple of minutes, we are going to be speaking, believe it or not, with William Shakespeare about the St. Pete Renaissance Fair that's coming up in the month of April. And I'm going to share a story with William. Or would I have to call you Mr. Shakespeare? William is fine. I will be sharing a story about my first live shot ever when I worked in Los Angeles back in the 90s. I did in the 90s, it was all about free love and everything else because I was at the Renaissance Fair as but a child, about 24, 25 years old, and the experience has lived with me forever. So I will be sharing that with you as well. But before we get into that, and it is quite a story. We're going to talk about some weather because we do have some rain out there. Let's go ahead and jump right in, and then we'll hit the commercial break, and we'll bring William. And you may have heard of him. Pretty well renowned name, William Shakespeare. Written a couple of novels over the years and some plays. So, matter of fact, and I will mention this as well, I was talking to him a couple of minutes ago at the Straz last month. The show and Juliet. And if you remember, we had the folks from the Straz on DPL as well. That was a really fun show. And it's about, the premise of it is about Juliet thinking that you know, there was some death involved on her part, but there really wasn't. She survived, and maybe Romeo did as well. I don't want to give away the show, but it was from her perspective. And what made it fun, it was all 90s music, like Backstreet Boys and Britney. And literally the entire musical is just one song after another. And I brought Ryan, my daughter. Y'all know my daughter Ryan wants to be a Broadway superstar. She's 11. She has a tough road to go about it, but she loves New York City and loves the place. She was just enthralled by the show, and then went home and started listening to all the music again. So the story is about William Shakespeare. It's not tremendously flattering about Mr. Shakespeare. It's more about his wife and about Juliet. So I might talk a little bit about that as well. But again, the St. Pete Renaissance Fair is coming up mostly the month of April, and we will get into that as well. So let's talk more about what's happening right this second in the weather. We're still in a drought. We've been in a drought for months. We're not going to get out of a drought anytime soon. And unfortunately, you know, this weekend we had the strong winds. That front came through on Saturday. You knew it because those winds picked up. I was actually over at the Sugar Sand Festival in Clearwater, and the winds, I mean, it was like you were being sandblasted. I mean, that wind was coming in at about 30 to 35 miles an hour. So you had the wind, you've had obviously the drought that was going on, and we had some real fire issues in Hernando County. And again, I talked about this last night a little bit, and I'll say this again. You know, we like our shenanigans. We like our tomfoolery. And on my Facebook page and on my socials, look, you know what we do. There's a lot of fun. There's a lot of playing. But when it hits the fan and when it's really serious, we are all over it. And I challenge you to go to any other social media sites in the market or anywhere else talking about those fires, because our reporters were there. We were there. My buddy Mike Boylan, Mike's weather page. Mike texted me, went up there, was doing some live hits as well. So, yes, there are times where people say, oh, well, are you going to get to the weather or not? Why are you just talking about, yeah, maybe. But if there is weather to talk about, mark my words, you will find it here, and you don't need to go anywhere else. Whether you're watching on The Spot, whether you're watching on Tampa Bay 28, whether you're following on our socials, whether it's X or Instagram or TikTok or wherever the case may be, we got you covered. So there's what's going on out there now. There's still a few showers, and they're moving from east to west, and a few isolated storms even in there as well. And that's always a tricky thing, right? Because we need the rain, and under the category of beggars can't be choosers, you know, we need the rain, and unfortunately lightning sometimes comes along with that rain. The problem with that is that lightning can spark brush fires. So we need the rain to avoid the fires, but unfortunately in Florida, they often accompany with thunderstorms, and then you got brush fires. And I don't know what started the Hernando Beach fire yet. They haven't released it. I don't think it was lightning. If it was, we didn't really see much out there. So I'm interested to see if it was something that formed from people or something else, but I kind of doubt that it was lightning. Anyway, highs today hit the middle 80s, 79 right now in Tampa. The wind's out of the east-southeast. I mean, you get that easterly flow in the summertime, that's going to give us all the rain we need. We didn't see it a lot last year. But we've still got some east-southeast winds, and that's why we had the rain out there. Nice shot there from Feeding Tampa Bay, where, as I mentioned, we will be live there on Wednesday. 85 the high today, the morning low 66. But look at the rainfall. We actually had 3/4 of an inch of rain today, and that has been a while. It has been a minute. So for the month, we're at 2.74 inches, and for the year, we're still 2 inches below normal. But for the month, we're actually almost 1/3 of an inch above average, and that's simply because of the rain that we had today for about an hour. So there it is, east to west winds. Futurecast kind of shows a few more showers this evening. Tomorrow, similar setup. For the kids who are on spring break, I mean, not the best beach week, not washout material, but I do think in the afternoon and evening, we are going to be dodging some more showers and maybe even a rumble of thunder or two with a couple of downpours as everything moves east to west. Wednesday, we do it all over again. Temperatures. You know, highs stay in the mid to upper 80s right on through Easter weekend. So if you have plans, I'm excited because my kids are all coming home for Easter weekend. All of them. And I got 6 kids. You guys know this. So my oldest son is coming home from New Orleans. My oldest daughter is coming home from Denver. My sons Shay and Josh, they live local, live and work local. They're going to be around. Jake, Ryan, still living at home. So I am excited that everybody's going to be home. And I think the weather's going to be okay for the Easter parades, For the Easter egg hunts, there might be a shower, but I think it'll more than likely be in the afternoon. Middle of next week, though, we have a much better chance of a few showers. So we'll touch on that in just a minute. There's a look at the rain potential again, right on through the next few days. A little bit better chance that some more moisture comes in on Thursday. So your forecast tonight, evening showers, partly cloudy, temperatures falling into the middle 60s. There's your beach forecast. I mean, not great, but not a washout. Partly cloudy. It'll be sunnier in the morning. So if you go earlier in the day, you're looking much better. If you go later in the day, that's when I think, and I'm talking probably early evening for the beaches, an isolated shower, temperatures in the mid-70s. There's a look at that 7-day. High temperatures each day in the upper 80s. Looks really, really good in the afternoon, Saturday and Sunday. So I do think Easter weekend should be okay, but next week is another story. We're going to take a look at the long-range forecast in 90 seconds as DPL continues. So we are still live streaming. We're not a commercial break. This show, which is, like I said, we runs on our networks, it runs everywhere. It's all done right here.
I was going to say, this is like just a couple of you doing this is really impressive.
It's crazy.
Studios where there's like 40 people scurrying.
Well, and it kind of used to be that way, but as the business changes, you know, they're asking you to wear more hats. So I run the commercials through Master Control right here by pressing this button, that locks, and and the countdown, I don't have a producer. So, well, you know who my producers? My followers on Facebook. If I'm heavy, like if I've gone, as I start talking and I miss a break, they'll start saying, go to break. So that literally the viewers are my producers, which is awesome. But I do have my countdown right there. And this is going to be a quick segment with next week, and then we'll bring you in for the third and the fourth segment.
How long is our segment?
Well, probably between 6 and 8 minutes. About that? Yeah, okay. All right. How you doing, guys? Everybody good? All right, so let's see. We are back in 24 seconds. All right. And then I'm going to take a look at the long-range stuff. All right. Let's see. Craig and Cheryl and Ruskin, how you doing? Good to see you. All right, back in 6. Yeah, my mic's working today. How about that? I got like a bug or something, like a spider on me. All right, in 1. How you doing, everybody? Welcome back to Dennis Phillips Live. I was just sitting here in the break saying, I feel like I got a spider on me or something. What the heck? Anyway, I want to go ahead and jump in because we have a guest coming in. They're in studio. Again, William Shakespeare. Kind of impressed. But let's go ahead and jump in quickly. I do want to show you some of the models, and here's why. So this is your GFS, and you take a look, and there's Tuesday, and there's Wednesday. So for folks looking for spring break, I mean, not terrible. Thursday looks okay. Friday, for Good Friday, there might be some in the Great Lakes and in the Northeast. There could be a little bit of weather, but for our area, not a big deal. Here's Saturday, and then here's Sunday. So look at the front that's coming in. So we might see a bit of moisture streaming in from the south on Easter, but I do think if it happens, it's probably in the afternoon. You'll have to check us out later in the week if you have plans for Easter Sunday. But look at Monday, and there's what I want you to look at. Look at that little area of low pressure that's trying to develop down in the Caribbean. And then you have a front that comes in, and the GFS is bringing that front in next Tuesday. Not a big deal, but look at the Euro. Almost identical to quote my cousin Vinny. Because, yeah, I mean, look at there. There's your GFS, there's the Euro. Both of them have a decent chance of rain about 8 days out. And then look what the Euro does later on in the period. Look at that, guys. So, I mean, I don't think it's going to happen. It's a good 10, 12 days out. But the irony about this is that would probably be a tropical system, at the very least a hybrid, but that to me looks tropical. So there's April 13th, and the Euro is trying to spin something up, and so is the GFS. How crazy is that? Mid-April, both models are saying, you know what, there might be a little something going on down there east of the Bahamas. I'm not the least bit concerned about it. My gut is it's not going to happen, but when both models, including the Euro, are showing it, and the waters are super warm, you never say never. But bottom line, through this week, we look pretty good. Some scattered east to west flow. I'll go ahead and show you this here. Let's take this one. So here's the Euro, right? So look at what it's doing, east to west. That would be Tonight, 8 o'clock, right? You still got some showers moving through. Tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock, sunny. Clouds build in the afternoon, a few evening showers. Again, east to west. Wednesday, same thing. Late afternoon, early evening showers. Not as much coverage. Thursday, a little slug of moisture comes in, and the coverage is a little bit better. So Thursday evening, Thursday afternoon, Thursday evening, east to west flow, some showers. Good Friday, looks good. Saturday, looks good. Maybe a quick shower. And on Easter Sunday, there it is. That's 8 a.m. for your Easter egg hunts. That is 2 p.m. and even through 8 p.m., nothing more than a few clouds. But by next Tuesday, that's when the front comes through. A pretty decent chance of some rain, so says both the GFS and the Euro. And then, of course, that tomfoolery and nonsense that's going on when it tries to develop off to the east. So that's about it. Things are pretty quiet right now. We did see some scattered showers. We will see if anything pops over the next couple of hours. However, we're going to hit a break, and we'll be back talking about the St. Pete Renaissance Fair with William Shakespeare himself. That's back in 90 seconds. All right, so come on in. And let me check our viewers here. We got this. It should go live for Instagram now as well. And are you up? Got it?
I'm in.
You got it? I was going to help you. Sometimes those chairs move. All right, so Derek, do you want to check the shot, the close-up shot, just to make sure? Oh, yeah, that's good. I'm not in the shot, so that's perfect. So there's your camera. That's camera 2. Yep. 2 shot on camera 1. And let me see what's going on here on Facebook. Yep, we're good. There you are there.
Sounds great.
All right, awesome. Okay, so we are back in 45 seconds. So everybody, William Shakespeare, everybody, William Shakespeare, everybody. You, I do want to talk a little bit about your background. Mm-hmm. And that play that I talked about. And then I'm going to share my Renaissance Fair story, and then you can talk about what folks can expect. Because I think it's going to be interesting because the one that I went to was a little risque. Mm-hmm. And the one in St. Pete is more family-friendly, you're saying?
Wildly more tame, yes.
Okay, so that wildly more tame.
Having worked at both of them, yes.
Well, oh, you have?
Yeah, I was the entertainment director in Southern California.
Okay, all right, well then you know what I'm talking about.
Not in the 90s. I was a bit young at that time.
Okay, all right, we're back in 3, 2. How you doing, everybody? Welcome back to Dennis Phillips Live. And the next couple of segments, we're going to be talking about an event that's going to be going on most of April, right? By the way, William Shakespeare, this is everybody. Everybody, this is William Shakespeare.
Greetings, everyone.
We were talking earlier about the play and Juliet. And I loved it. My daughter loved it. It wasn't tremendously flattering in the sense, and I thought it was an interesting story because when you passed away, how you're here now is another story, but you left your wife one thing. Is that correct?
That is correct, yes. My second best bed.
Which a lot of folks in looking at history is saying that the second best bed was actually the best bed.
Indeed. It was the one reserved for guests and special people that might come by to visit. And it was a really, really lovely, soft cushions, you know, all the best for my love.
So even though some folks say, why didn't you leave the best bed? In your mind, maybe it was actually better to leave the second best bed, if you will.
Well, you know how sometimes you'll name something so that someone will go after something else? People, when you're writing a will, they want the best thing. So if I give my wife the second best thing, but it's actually the best thing,
okay.
You know, it's all strategy.
It's strategy. All right, so we're going to get into the St. Pete Fair, but I want to share this story. So this was back in 1994. I was but a child. I was literally like 23, 24, I can't remember. But I was working in Los Angeles. And my first TV live shot ever in LA was the Renaissance Fair. And I don't remember exactly where it was. It might have been in Agora Hills, like you were saying.
Very likely.
But so I went there, and you know, I was brand new, so I wasn't going to say no to anybody. So I'm there, and they wanted to make me the Wizard of Weather. And they had me all decked out in purple. And I'm there, back then I wore jackets, right? So I had my jacket on and I had my suit on. And the woman pretty much dressed me from head to toe, literally from head to toe. And I'm just standing there, I'm like, well, do your thing, whatever. So I had on purple tights, and I was the wizard of weather. And my guess is in St. Pete, there will be wizards and there will be magical folks and anything and everything.
All manner of sundry things you could imagine will be at the St. Petersburg Renaissance Fair. We will have wizards, we will have wonder, we may even have some weather, as according to you.
Yes.
Nothing, hopefully, that keeps people away. But yes, I'm fascinated to find this Wizard of Weather thing. Did you make accurate predictions or cast any spells to stave off bad weather?
In Los Angeles, it was sunny every day.
Pretty much,
honestly,
yeah.
that is why I left my job in LA, because I was so bored. I got a minute and a half to do the weather, and half of it was the smog forecast. So what's the challenge in that? When I had a chance to come to Florida, I'm like, you got hurricanes, you got severe weather, so that's why I left.
A little more interesting. Yeah,
yes,
yeah,
absolutely. So speaking of more interesting, explain to us all the fun things that the St. Pete Renaissance Fair are going to have, because I think I would argue maybe a lot of people watching right now may have heard of them, but never has gone.
It's a rather new festival. We are in our second year, and we will be running from April 4th through April 26th this year, Saturdays and Sundays from 10 a.m. until 6 p.m., rain or shine. We have places to hide in case there is a little bit of a downpour, so fear you not. And there are all manner of things to do whenever you arrive. You could find yourself perhaps enjoying circus arts. We have contortionists, we have jugglers, we have all manner of things to eat and drink. There's, you know, of course, the classic Ren Fair turkey leg. It's fantastic. There are 3 different pubs that you can enjoy a nice frosty beverage at. There are also over 50 different artisans, so you can find any manner of gift for your family. Think ahead for Christmas. Trust me, you will find the best things at a Renaissance Fair. Many of them are handcrafted on site. It's just a wonderful sort of take you out of reality and plop you right into the middle of a magical, different realm. It's an experience that everyone should have at least once. I personally have been doing it for years, and it's not something I would ever really give up, given my druthers.
So we have something similar, a different time frame, but in the Florida State Fair, we have an area called Cracker Country. And you go in there and you're in the middle and you have the ability to purchase goods and to experience what life is like in that time realm. So you're saying that's what the Renaissance Fair is like as well?
Yes, it's modeled after a 16th century Elizabethan era English festival day, right? There would have been the Queen's arrival, which really was a big to-do, and all of the people coming with her, which was called Progress, and they would come and they would have a big party, basically, and you would, you know, try and show the Queen the best time possible if you were able, and, you know, the best for the best, as it were. And really, it's just sort of magical. It's transporting. You know, it takes you from the mundane droll day to day and gives you an experience like no other. And one of my favorite parts about it is the interactivity of it, right? You get to go right up to the people who are there doing the thing, making the crafts, the goods, serving the beverages and the ales and the foods, or performing in the shows. And you can have a conversation with them, just like you and I are right now.
So if someone wants to take part, not as a visitor, but as a participant in the Renaissance Fair, how is that something they can also do for the following year or for this year?
This year we've already kind of buttoned everything up, but if you are interested in doing this in the future, you might want to go to your sage or your guru, Google, and type in St. Petersburg Renaissance Fair. There you will find a plethora of information, and that will really elucidate the process. For instance, we do things as actors called auditions. So if you're interested in looking, dare say, a bit dashing, like under this, that would be a place that you would begin that search. I also want to encourage people to come out all 4 of our weekends. As I said before, it's April 4th through April 26th, rain or shine. This first weekend, our Easter weekend, we are actually letting people in. If you are under the age of 16, you can get in for free. So if your 6 kids were all under 16...
Yeah, they're not, but that would be great if they were.
It would be quite a cheap experience for your entertainment, I promise you that.
So Linda, we have to hit a break though. Linda is saying she would go to King Richard's Renaissance Fair in Massachusetts. Are you familiar?
I am indeed, yes.
Have you been?
I have not personally been. Usually I'm working upstate in a place called York. It's not the old York, it's the New York.
Gotcha.
Hey.
Well, and Sandy says the Renaissance Festival in Maryland is always a fun time.
Delightful. Love that one, yes.
So we're going to hit a break, and then we'll come back, and I have a few more questions. And again, I guess ultimately, one last question before we hit the break. So can people dress up as well? And
Please, yes, we encourage people coming in and living a bit of your fantasy. This is a bit more perhaps family friendly than the one you went to in the 90s in California. This is welcoming for all, so it should be fit for any age.
Awesome. Well, we'll be back at our last one more break, 90 seconds, and we'll be back with the last segment on Dennis Phillips Live with William Shakespeare. It's actually, isn't it Sir William Shakespeare?
No, he was never knighted.
Really?
No. No, just
Interesting.
he did end up working for the king and was made the king's men. But before that, he was the Lord Chamberlain's men. It was the group of players that all performed all over. They did tours, but then they wound up in London and were highlighted by the Queen.
So Marcy says, I used to live by Agora Hills. And BJ says, I feel like this guy smells like ancient oils and herbs.
There's a bit of civet in there, yes.
Well, actually, a lot of folks have actually participated, and that surprises me. I know. Well, I want to mention this too because I think a lot of locally, how much time we got? A lot of local schools have field trips to medieval times on the way to Orlando, and in fact, I think every one of my kids have done it, and they had never really experienced, not that I know of, that they'd been to a Renaissance fair, but you were saying that's kind of a taste of similar, okay.
There are
we'll
similar,
talk about
yeah,
that.
yes, indeed. It does have similarities. It's strikingly similar in some ways and very different in others.
And
20 seconds.
Will there be other food, other than turkey legs?
All manner of things, yes. Yeah. Anything you could practically imagine that can be cooked or construed with relative ease.
Alcohol and non-alcoholic?
Yes, indeed.
Okay, all right. And where exactly is it in St. Pete?
It is in Pinellas Park, technically at the England Brothers Park.
Perfect. Back in. Hey, everybody, our last segment with, I was going to say Sir William Shakespeare, but he informed me that never knighted.
'Tis not so, yes. Just your average Joe of, English playwright fame.
And as I mentioned during the break, we were talking with a lot of the folks. BJ says, I feel like this guy smells like ancient oils and herbs. And that's not a bad thing, right? That's a good smell.
One does what one must.
I'm sure there will be lots of good smells at the Renaissance Fair. Now, specifically, where is it again? Because we said St. Pete, but technically it's in Pinellas Park.
Technically it is in Pinellas Park, yes. And it is located at the England Brothers Park in Pinellas Park. We welcome you to come out and experience it firsthand. There's plenty of things to do, plenty of parking. It is just a delightful time for the whole family.
And you were saying you mentioned the turkey legs, but I mean, it's obviously there's lots and lots of
all sorts of things. You can get your boba tea there. You can have an arepa. You can have, salads and tacos and other sundry things. We have vegan options if that is your preference. We have fully meatified carnivorous options if that is your preference. And perhaps literally everything in between.
And alcohol and non-alcoholic as well.
Alcoholic and non-alcoholic drinks aplenty.
Awesome. So again, what's the website for people to get more information
You would go to St. Pete Renaissance Fair at, stpeterenaissancefair.com. Yes.
stpeterenaissancefair.com. Maybe somebody can post that on the comment so you can click on the link. And again, it goes from
April 4th through April 26th, 10 a.m. until 6 p.m. Come rain, come shine, we'll be there.
Awesome. Well, hopefully it'll be more shine than rain because I would think so. We talked during the break also, all of my kids have gone to medieval times. A lot of the schools locally have field trips to medieval times where they have jousting and whatnot. Do they have that sort of thing as well?
Oh, you bet your sweet Bippy we do. We have jousters, we have all sorts, we have circus artists that do really, truly death-defying feats that will leave you a bit breathless if you were to imagine yourself doing these same things. It is very similar in a way to medieval times, perhaps less climate-controlled, you might say. There are all of those same sort of options. You can eat the food with your hands. You can, have your mead. You can watch the joust. You can shout hip hip huzzah, God save the Queen and whatnot. It's just an absolute gas.
Well, thank you so much
Dennis,
for coming. I kind of thought you might have brought a skull with you, but
they wouldn't let it through security, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, that would probably be the case. So thank you very much again. It's coming up in April. It's St. So the website again is
St. Petersburg Renaissance Fair, FAIRE.com.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
All right, guys, so that is where we are. We are finishing up on broadcast. We'll continue on streaming for a few minutes. Again, scattered showers out there this evening, scattered showers tomorrow, Easter weekend. We'll see how it plays out. We'll be back tomorrow night with our next edition of Dennis Phillips Live. And we are out on TV, and we are still on streaming. So there we go.
Fabulous.
All right, perfect. Thank you so much.
Dennis,
I
it has
really
been a great
appreciate it.
pleasure.
That was
Thank
great.
you.
So you're here for the whole time?
Yes, indeed. Yeah.
So, by the way, just so you know, lives in New York, right?
Correct.
But you come down, and where are some of the other fairs that you've traveled to?
Festivals that I've worked include the New York Renaissance Fair, the St. Petersburg Renaissance Fair, obviously, the one down in Dade County, down in Miami, just outside of Miami. I've worked one in Michigan. I've worked one in Wisconsin. I've worked 2 in Texas. I've worked 2 in California. And that might sum up most of the more large ones.
Is there a difference between a festival and a fair?
Technicalities. It really goes back to some companies have a trademark on fair or tried to trademark fair, so the other places that were creating the same entertainment just pivoted and changed their name a little bit. So fairs happened first. There was the original Renaissance Pleasure Fair in Southern California in the Agoura Hills, where you experienced becoming
It's called the Pleasure Fair.
The Pleasure Fair.
Oh, but that explains a lot now.
It still is. It still is. It's been going for over 60 years. It is the first one that ever happened in the United States.
All right, now that we're not on broadcast, that we're on streaming, I will tell you, this woman literally stripped me naked. I mean, it is a true story. And I don't want to say that on TV, but you know, and I thought LA, and that was I had only lived there for a month or two, and I thought acting. And I know like actors, you know, they're not shy when it comes to stuff, right? I mean, and so I figured it was the expectation. So I just did, and they put these tights on me, and I'll never forget it because I went back to the station afterwards, and our anchor, her name was Trisha Toyota. And
Great name.
Yeah, right?
Yes.
And I told her about it, and she's like, "You let her do that?" And I go, "Well, I didn't know." She's like, "Dude, what you?" but that was the mindset back then. Not so much.
Not so much anymore. No.
Yeah.
You know, it's the actors can be somewhat of a peripheral sort of people. You know, you're not necessarily the person you're going to see on, you know, perhaps what's one of those shows where there's police and guns and things.
Like the reality shows?
Yeah, things like that.
It's funny you say that because I noticed that a lot of the actors, you know, they're so into their roles and they're so gregarious, and yet when they're not acting, a lot of them are really reserved and kind of shy. I mean, it just gives them an opportunity to be someone else.
Dennis, we could talk for hours about the beauty of what acting gives a person the opportunity to do.
Yeah.
There's a whole philosophy behind it. There's a reason that we are still reading plays that have been written some over 400 years ago.
It does. It makes sense. And that struck me. Literally a different person entirely. And I would have expected actors to all be larger than life in real life. And a lot of them, it's just not that way. And you know what? Totally different topic. But sometimes people look at that, I think, as, that the actors are being snobby. And that's just not the case. Sometimes it is. But I think a lot of times it's just they're shy. You know, and
it's true. And putting on I'll use this as an instance of example, the garb allows you to be a little something that may live inside of you, but you are not necessarily in your day-to-day.
Yeah.
Right? In the same way that you are navigating a lot of things right here. He is working his duff off up here, everyone. And I attest that you probably, after you're done, you're like,
well, when things don't go well, especially, and they do fall off the track quite. Now, luckily, my viewers, because I do it myself, and we were just talking about this with a couple minutes ago. I was talking with one of my bosses, and I think people realize that if you laugh at when things go wrong, because things go wrong with everybody. You know?
Jugglers drop their balls all the time,
and
it's part of the act. And you cannot have a perfect circumstance. Plays go wrong. There are plays that are called the play that goes wrong. I mean, it happens. Yeah. It's part of life, and it's about how you handle that. That's the stoic nature of your circumstance. You can smile and go, okay, we're carrying on, or you can go and lose your mind.
And I think the people who are welcomed warmly are the ones who realize they share that with them and they experience that with the audience, and I think that's what we do here as well. So anyway, well, again, thank
Dennis,
you so much for coming out.
Pleasure.
Have a great time and enjoy the Bay Area.
Thank you. I will. I certainly will.
All right.
Take good care.
All right, guys, so there we go. That is it. I think no rain in the Phillies complex, Rolando. Yeah, you know what? I will be there live. I will be there next Tuesday at the Phillies complex. Weather from 5 o'clock on and including DPL as well. So I'm looking forward to that. So, guys, let me see if I missed any questions. That was fun. Yeah, absolutely. He's a really nice guy. Really, really nice guy. From Queens. I'm not so sure William Shakespeare was from Queens, but Clayton was, who played William Shakespeare at this point in time. So, just wanted to hold on. Oh, thank you, Tom. I'm thrilled. I'm absolutely thrilled. I mean, it's rare, guys know, when your kids get older, you just don't see them as often when they're off, in other lands and other states and whatnot. And by everybody being able to come home on one weekend I'm so excited. It's going to be amazing. So anyway, you guys have a great night. Let's go ahead and check radar one more time. Here is a look at the 7-day and some scattered showers around, mostly in the afternoon hours. Right on through Easter Sunday. There is a chance, I think if anything does pop on Easter Sunday, it would likely be in the afternoon, but there is a chance. And right now, radar looks pretty good. There is some rain offshore. A few more showers are possible, and that's about it. So I don't know about you guys, but I had to hit refresh several times on my Facebook feed. My Facebook feed was not updating as much. Is Clayton still here? Nope, he left. Stan, I just saw your question. Boy, yeah, look at it. A lot of you folks. A lot of you folks have done it before. So anyway, you guys have a great night. I'm going to go grab some dinner, and we will see you tomorrow. Tomorrow night we have, who is live with us tomorrow? I know we have somebody, but I can't remember who. I guess we'll find out tomorrow on our next edition of Dennis Phillips Live. You guys have a great night, and we will see you tomorrow.